Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. So this is probably one of the last really good days of the year. We're taking advantage and having a family barbecue, and I've done a lot of barbecue recipes on the YouTube channel. So I'm not going to do one of those today, but I am making a dessert for later. It's a dessert which probably 99% of subscribers to the channel have never heard of. So today I'm going to show you how to make Manchester Tart. So this particular dessert is a real blast from the past. Anybody that went to a Manchester school of a certain age, or similar age to me, will be very familiar with this particular dish because it formed an integral part of the school meal system within Manchester. So Manchester Tart, probably called different things around the world. I'm surprised if it's only in Manchester where this particular type of tart is made. It's not fine cuisine, so I had a little bit of a think with regard to the video. How do we go about it? I was looking to do maybe a short crust sweet pastry from scratch and also a vanilla custard from scratch, but I decided not to do any of that because this is basically just part of a school meal. So we're going to be using ready-made short crust pastry and also ready-made custard as well, just to make this as easy as possible. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's have a look at those ingredients now and anything else we're going to need for today. So the ingredients for today's recipe: I've got 500 grams of ready-made custard. Going to be using some short crust pastry, ready rolled short crust pastry, desiccated coconut, some caster sugar, 2 teaspoons of corn flour, some strawberry jam and a ripe banana. So first thing we want to do is to take a pie dish. So I've got a silicone pie dish here which is 23 centimeters in diameter, and I've just greased it very generally with some butter. And take our ready-made or ready-rolled pastry. And just place the pie dish on the top just for size. So it's more than long enough, it's just not wide enough. So what I'm going to do here is trim off this part. I'm going to add it to there. Just going to add a little bit of plain flour to the rolling pin and just roll that out slightly, just so that will stick together. And all we need to do then is just fit the pastry into our pie dish. Okay, so once we've got the pastry in the pie dish as neat as we can, just want to trim off some of this excess, but leave the pastry overhanging around the edge because we will get some shrinkage as the pastry cooks. We can always trim that off later. What we don't want to do is to trim it too much now, the pastry to shrink and actually go inside the case itself. So once we've done that, next thing to do is just take a fork and just prick the base of the pastry, and that will ensure that any air trapped underneath the pastry will get released and won't push the centre of the pastry up. Okay, so once we've done that, we take some caster sugar, because this is a savoury pastry and obviously we're using it for a dessert, and this is a really quick and simple way of turning savoury short crust pastry into sweet short crust pastry. You can find ready-made sweet short crust pastry, but I found it's almost double the price of standard short crust pastry. So I am actually going to use that pastry for something else later, so I don't want it to dry out. Okay, so once we've done that, we take a piece of baking paper or greaseproof paper, just scrunch that up so it's easier to work with. And then we place that into the base. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to blind bake this base. Once we've got that in, I've got some dried peas which I've used for quite a few years now, so this is just to weigh that pastry down so again it doesn't rise in the centre. That's enough weight in the centre of that pastry to ensure it doesn't rise up. And then just another little tip, we're going to blind bake this now for 15 minutes, which is what we are going to do in a preheated oven. What will happen is the edge of the pastry will go quite hard and potentially burn. We want the pastry to cook, but we still want it to be a little bit soft around the edge, and that makes it a lot easier to trim as well. If we don't do what we're going to do now, which is actually place some foil around the edge, what will happen is when the pastry case is cooked and then we go to trim the edge, the chances are if it's too brittle it'll just fracture all the way down into the base. So we take strips of tin foil and we just place that over the edge. This will stop the edge of that pastry from going too hard. Just carry on until we've done all the way around. Okay, so once we've done that, this now goes into a preheated oven, 180 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes. So while our pastry is blind baking, the next thing to do is we can use that time to prepare the custard. So the one thing about custard, especially in a container like this, is it doesn't set, and we need it to set. So that's the reason for the corn flour. So in a small pan, if we just add the cold custard, and before we put the heat under the saucepan, we just add in 2 tablespoons or heaped tablespoons of corn flour, and then just whisk that in and just make sure that no lumps in the custard at all. And again, you do this when the custard is cold. Okay, so once you're happy that's thoroughly mixed in, place a saucepan over a medium heat, and we just want to bring this custard up to a very gentle simmer and just simmer it for just literally 2 or 3 minutes. So once the custard is up to this gentle simmer stage, just make sure that you bring the custard in from the sides of the pan as well. You don't want it to burn on the side of the pan. As I said, just 2 or 3 minutes now on this simmer, just to allow that corn flour to work, and then I'm going to turn the heat out and just leave this to cool, and then we can use it in the pastry case. Okay, so our pastry case is now baked. So what I did was first 15 minutes in that preheated oven with our greaseproof paper and dried peas in the centre to weigh the pastry case down. Then after 15 minutes took out the peas and the greaseproof paper and allowed the pastry to cook for another 10 minutes uncovered, so that we got some firmness to the centre of the pastry. This foil works an absolute dream. As I said before, this stops the pastry from going too brittle and hard around the edge. So the next thing to do is I'm just going to trim this round the edge while the pastry is still warm. It's by far the easiest time to do it. So once we've trimmed around the edge of the crust, next thing to do is we add our strawberry jam, and just gently spread this out just for a thin layer of strawberry jam, not too much. So once we've done that, I've taken our banana and cut the banana very thinly. So the key to the banana is that it's ripe and it is cut quite thin, and then we just add a layer of banana into the bottom. Okay, once we've added our banana, next thing is to add the custard. So once we've got our custard spread over the top, next thing to do, just take some of our desiccated coconut, spread that out onto an oven-proof tray, and I'm just going to very lightly toast this desiccated coconut under a really hot grill for literally just a few seconds, just to get a nice toasting on top of the desiccated coconut and some really nice flavour. Once we've toasted it, the desiccated coconut will then get sprinkled on top of the custard, and that's the dish complete. Okay, so that's our coconut toasted. As I said, just going to sprinkle this over the top. And once we've done this, I'm going to be placing this Manchester Tart into the fridge to chill for at least a couple of hours before we serve it. So there you go, Manchester Tart, really easy to make. Probably not everybody's cup of tea, but as children we absolutely adored this particular dessert in school. Always looked forward to school dinners when this was on the menu. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.